Now everybody's satisfied with how well or not the Black Stars performed, and I guess we now have to talk about the content of the budget. So I do have with me the man representing government's communication and also the MPP or the ruling government's communication, Kamaldeen Abdullahi, and thank you for joining me. You're also a member of Nantong constituency.
Yes. In fact, my former MP is here, who decided to
abscond,
desert and run away to Tamale Central.
I thought on this program you mocked me for losing the seat. So you are now telling me I deserted. I said I thought on this same program.
After losing
sometimes.
After losing sorely, you had to.
It's too early for the fight. Okay,
no, it's
so
okay.
He lost sorely.
I think
he decided not to come back to Nantong again.
So he lost primaries, so not elections. He disastrously.
Narrowly. I know, not disastrously. Narrowly.
You lost primaries 2 times. Then me who won primaries and won elections.
Not 2 times or once, please.
Then he mocked me on this
He's not even getting his facts right.
You lost.
I contested only once, and I lost narrowly. So if you tell me that it's 2 times, you get right.
What's the meaning?
He didn't even climb the mountain. Then I climbed the mountain, stayed there and descended.
Kamaldeen Abdullahi is a member of the Nantong constituency.
But do you know the interesting one? When he was about losing, we were in a flight together. Starbo, you remember? A day to the election or so. I said, look, you're going to lose this election. He said, no. Even go and bring Akufo-Addo. I'm going to beat him.
Come on. But
it's always a
when he lost.
Come on. But you know too well.
Then I called him and said, my brother, how did he go?
Come on.
He didn't even want to.
Come on. But you know too well I never lost the elections. You know that.
It's all right.
That's a conversation for another day. You know I never lost the elections.
It is a conversation for another day.
Exactly.
It's okay.
So I didn't lose that election.
So.
He knows what happened.
Oh, no, you lost it.
So former member of Parliament for Nantong and current member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is right here. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, I'm okay.
Yesterday you decided not to sit in the plenary.
Yes, I didn't sit, actually.
That was not a fair
I
thing
watched,
for you to
I
do.
watched it from my office.
And you were right. You
You
were right.
Yes, I thought it was unprincipled if I sat listening to that man. So
Legal practitioner, energy consultant, and we have also director of the Political Affairs Directorate of the CPP.
Chairman of the political...
Chairman of Political Affairs.
Political Affairs Committee.
Political Affairs Committee, Convention People's Party, Kwame Nkrumah's party, is also Kwame Jantua.
Hey.
How are you?
What
are you writing like that? The
I'm
budget
not writing.
is clear.
I'm reading. I'm not writing.
The budget is clear.
you know, in times like this, you just have to smile.
Yeah.
You have to smile because otherwise,
I think
pretend
the last couple of months
you walk into the bush without realizing you're walking into the bush. So you've got to smile.
And I think that we've talked about the budget and we seem to have the numbers at our fingertips most of the time. So keep wondering, sir. Charlie, we have no choice than to be getting accustomed to what the issue is. But yesterday, following that budget reading, we decided to go to town and get some insight. First, we spoke to a deputy minister of finance, and then we'll have some conversations on the subject. After that, we'll talk some small football. They can begin with it, but let's get these insights. First, John Kuma, and then we'll have what you ordinary Ghanaians have been saying about the reduction to 1% of the E-levy.
We are expecting to bring down government's obligation on our debt, borrowing, and interest payments. And we strongly believe that the domestic investors in Ghana, as we have it today, His Excellency the President has already announced that there is not going to be any haircut on their principal, which we have stated. Of course, there will be external engagement that will do haircut for our bond holders. But the domestic one, we are not going to do haircut or touch their principal.
0.5% is not helping them because those that we don't send money, the big money, are plenty than those they send higher money. Whenever I do transactions, 50 Ghana, 60 Ghana, 70 Ghana, so the E-levy doesn't catch me. So they have seen that we are sending the lowest money. We are plenty. MPP government is a government. I can tell them that they are very wise in book. They use book to always beat us. But we are coming, we are more sharp than them.
We are reducing the pressure on our heads, but not removing the stones off, right? So the load is still there, but you are telling us that you are reducing it. But it's not going anywhere. It's still there. There is still some kind of thing there. And so if I'm sending 1 cedi, there's an E-levy on it. If I'm sending 20 pesos, there's an E-levy on it. You've not reduced anything, basically. Because when we travel, we see it, right? A lot of nice stuff. It's because people are paying taxes and because the government is using the taxes. But if we were paying and was getting fixed, you wouldn't complain, you understand? So that's basically it. They should scrap it.
Now, even if you send 1 Ghana cedis, there will be a deduction. And that one, it confuses me a lot. And it is an error. We don't need any E-levy because Ghanaians are really passing through a lot of pains.
Kamal Dean.
Well,
what's your reaction so far from yesterday's budget? You can also hear a lot of those people we saw on the street that we spoke to. Just basic, ordinary Ghanaians.
Well, once again, good morning. And good morning to Lawyer Jantua and my brother Mutala, as well as our viewers.
Mutala. Address me proper. My big brother Mutala.
Oh, you want to be Methuselah?
No, but I'm older than you. Say my big brother Mutala. Fine. Address me proper.
I hear. And to the viewers out there, Roland, times are hard, tough times we are in, and of course, drastic measures needed to move on did not start today. But in recent times, we've had the president acknowledging that fact. We've had the finance minister acknowledging that fact. We've had the vice president acknowledging that fact. And in fact, we've had actors in this government acknowledging that we are in difficult times. And in fact, Roland, time without number, we have had to state again that it is not just akin to Ghana. It is not just talking about Ghana alone. This is a global challenge that we do have, that everybody talks about it, as it were. When it comes to economic hardships, today as we speak, several countries have had cause to complain and talk about it as well. However, budget will be presented, budget will not be presented. Negotiations at the IMF, majority in Parliament are calling for the head of the finance minister, minority are calling for the head of the finance minister. We are here today. Mandated by Article 179 that the fiscal policy be presented, mandated by also the Act of Parliament, which says that we need to present our budget before the fiscal year ends. Of course, yesterday we had the budget presented. We had the abridged version read by the finance minister in Parliament. And of course, we listened to the finance minister when he spoke about our debt and how debt sustainability is key and important to us as a people to ensure that going forward, at least we are going to have some reprieve in terms of our macroeconomic stability. And when I talk about debt sustainability, the finance minister was quick to add that yes, indeed, the cedi has seen some 58.3% depreciation for some time now. As a result, about 98 billion or 93 billion of Ghana cedi has come to add up to our debts, giving us a figure of close to $450 billion as a result of the forex depreciation, if I heard him. When I heard the finance minister is on course, okay, on record, to have told us that indeed some net freezing will be done in the public sector in terms of job opportunities. And net freezing here simply means that, yes, of course, we will not be able to hire because we are going to negotiate with IMF and some conditionalities may come. However, those whose contract have ended, of course, would have to go and be replaced. Okay? Those who, of course, are going on retirement would have to go and be replaced. And then maybe some critical institutions like health and education would not see such a freeze, as it were. So there'll be some net freeze in terms of public sector employment, as it were. One measure it looks at. The finance minister is on record to have said that government expenditure must be cut. He mentioned it. And of course, it is something that many people have said. I've always made this argument, personally, this is a personal one, that when we take government appointees, Article 71 holders, including parliamentarians or who are not appointees, though, but they are part of the Article 71, and then whatever. When you put them together and aggregate it, how much money we spend on them currently, before even the cuts, to GDP ratio, it is 0 point something, something, something. It's insignificant. But however, for the optics, we are there. We are running V8. The MP is taking this allowance. They want to, people have forgotten what the MP does at the constituency level when he's not even supposed to do it. The pressure on him. He's an MP. He knows it. But I see it's highly insignificant. But all of us have gone to run to town with this argument. Government is giving V8. MP is giving V8. When you take it and then look at the GDP, and of course, minus that, it is nothing to write home about. However, the government of the day, yesterday's budget, stated clearly that V8, V6, effective January 2023, make sure you are not using the one you are in town. With the exception that maybe if there's cross-country, critical or essential travel that you need it, you may come in. I think that this should have come even long ago. Because I've always, on this platform some time ago, I made this argument. I said in India, you see ministers driving very small vehicles to go to the office. 1.4, 1.6 liter in India. So I was telling myself that, so how come we cannot do this? Why do we drive V8s in town?
Why are you telling us? Is the president and your minister?
No, I'm saying, please. That's what I'm saying. But of course, the president presented the budget yesterday, and the president made it. And I'm saying that it doesn't matter. Better late than never. What is important is that it has been done. I was saying that this is my personal view. This should have been earlier. Of course, looking at also other expenditures, cutting some of expenditures of government is clear. And there's another measure that he mentioned. That look, all government vehicles must be registered with GV. Let's recognize them. So that when your V8 is GV and you are driving in town, we do know that this is a government vehicle, as it were.
Doesn't matter.
They must comply.
Does it matter?
It does matter because to track for compliance.
It will be used anyway.
It will be used, but not in town. That's what the law says, or the measure says that we should stop using it. Buying of new vehicles, let us put aside. We have brought assembly companies in this country. Those car assembly companies, let us see that any institution that has the need to even buy a vehicle, then go there and buy the vehicle. These are little things that we do. But at the end of the day, it comes to help shore up whatever we are doing, as it were. But of course, to end with, somebody will sit somewhere, like I have listened to people, oh, the budget is empty. There is nothing in it. There has never been a day, there's never been in the history of this country that when MPP is in opposition, then NDC presents a budget, MPP will not say it's empty. That when MPP is in power and NDC is in opposition, NDC will not say it's empty. This back and forth has always been so. But see, on a serious note, we are in critical times. And all of us have to come out there to see what we can do to contribute our quota, to ensure that at least we have some respite going forward. But if we are going to hinge on the tangent of the NDC, the MPP, the NDC, the MPP, I've always mentioned this. We will continue with this and will never get solutions to whatever we are doing. Why? Isn't it sad that, Roland, since we got independence, this is about the 19th time we are going to IMF? Yes, it's sad. 19th time. Check it. Averagely, every 4 years, every 3 years, we are going to IMF to go and look for help. As a country, and we are comfortable with that. All we know how to do is come and take some, political whatever, and they say, oh, NDC, MPP, find convenience in blaming people, when in fact our own selves, from 1965 till date, every 4 years we go to IMF to go and look, to go and beg. Any government that comes. So when the alternative even tells you that don't go to IMF, don't do this, the next moment when they come, they are also going to IMF. When MPP sits here and tells you we won't go to IMF, the next moment we are going to IMF. My brother John Kuma just played his video. He's on record to have said we will not go to IMF. But today we are there. So I'm saying that yes, the budget has been presented. It was an abridged version, but I'm told the full one has come out. The appendices will be looked at. Critical debate will be carried out in Parliament. Members of Parliament will look at it. If the appropriation bill is to be passed, they pass it. Then, of course, we'll look at what it is in for us. However, we have to wait and see how it shares out. Thank you.
Well, that's a good justification. I mean, the cuts to make sure that we reduce the expenditure, especially on the executive, and then making sure, even though we have in excess some deficit of 61 billion, we're able to create a space, get the IMF approval, and then we can go into the market and show up the revenue or what needs to come to get the other expended.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Senior Comrade, and good morning, my brother Kama, and good morning to your viewing public, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. If you permit me, we shall be having the Quranic recitation come Sunday for the purposes of having gone through an elections, the constituency elections, without much difficulty. And I'm using the opportunity to invite everybody, those who won and those who didn't win. And we shall also have a meeting with the newly elected executive. So we're bringing everybody on board as a thanks to the Almighty Allah. Yes, you are asking me whether really.
Oh, no.
There wasn't any serious, incursion as a result of
it's
the
not my
elections.
business, though. So
inshallah, coming Sunday.
The NDC's election is not my business at all. So.
Well,
why isn't it your business?
Well, whatever he
just gave me the proverb to buttress that. It's not my business.
They are the largest opposition party.
Mr. Gentua, if you throw your frog over the wall, do you follow to find out how it landed? So I can understand why he would want to go on that tangent. It is very clear that something dramatic happened yesterday, that this is the first time in recent memory that the budget is presented by the Minister for Finance for and on behalf of the President without the appendix. Before even the budget is presented, members of Parliament ought to be given copies. In fact, we have always been given a hard copy, not even a soft copy, of the budget, so that as the Minister is going ahead with the presentation, you can be going through and tracking. The reason why it is important and appropriate to give copies of the budget statement to members of Parliament is that after the budget is presented, the leadership of the House would have to make some brief comments on it, but not to engage in a debate. The debate then comes after. And after the budget is presented, there is always a tradition of having a post-budget workshop. And inshallah, we shall have the post-budget workshop starting today, because we'll be leaving today after Parliament, and we are having it at home. The purpose for the post-budget workshop is to bring in resource persons, and these resource persons are identified by both Parliament and also the government, so that those resource persons will take you through, give explanation why certain policy decisions were taken by government as captured in the financial statement. So we shall be having the post-budget workshop. Because we will be moving to Ho today, and I believe that sometime Monday we should be done with the post-budget workshop. And I'm making this statement because last year when the budget was presented, we indeed had the post-budget workshop. And when E-levy was introduced, those experts who were invited, and those experts who were invited to come take members of Parliament through so that we can have an informed debate on the floor. Those experts, Kamal, the last time I checked, were not partisan. They were not NDC members. If every single one of them raised an issue with regards to the E-levy. Now, when we said that any time budget is read, you would find the opposition party having some concerns about it, and therefore this is normal. Kamal, it is not normal. It is not normal when we have civil society organization and those in academia who are all singing the same song the opposition is singing, who have all in unison stated publicly that this was an empty budget. So it is not normal. It can only be normal based on your logic and the explanation you gave when those civil society organizations and institutions that are apolitical are not making those same observations. So Kamal, it is not normal. I mean, frankly speaking, I didn't sit in for the budget.
Yes, I spoke to you yesterday.
Yes, I didn't sit in. I watched it from my office because I felt that it was an unprincipled position, personally, not as a caucus, to sit and listen to that man.
You should have.
No, I didn't need to. This is a man who is being asked to go by over half of his members of Parliament. And the reasons why they've been asking for him to resign or be forced to jump is because of non-performance. In fact, some of them use stronger words, that he was no longer fit to man the office of the Ministry of Finance. This is a man that as minority in Parliament, we also think that the man should no longer be our member of Parliament, and given reasons. Some of the reasons are violations of financial regulations, of constitutional provisions of that regulates our financial conduct as a state. So I felt that it was, it was not principle for me to sit. I didn't sit.
So that's why you didn't sit?
Yes, I didn't. And I told you even before that I wasn't going to sit to listen to. Those who had some courage to sit, they said that they were disappointed that they spent time sitting to listen to that man.
Well, what are you talking about? There were, I think there were key instructions in there that should give hope to everybody. So while the criticism may come, we've now reduced to the 1.5 e-levy. We have itemized ways by which we intend increasing revenue for the year, even though we're going to have in excess of some 61 billion more needed to be able to show up. But that should give confidence to investors and people like you who are members of parliament and take critical decisions.
Anybody who listens to this minister and after listening to him becomes hopeful, then that person needs to visit my village. You can never be hopeful listening to me. When you visit my village, you know, in the olden Dagbang, there was so much wisdom in Zhang. So I think that anybody who listens to this minister and ended up becoming hopeful needs to visit Zhang. You can never be hopeful.
To get better wisdom.
Yes, you can never be hopeful listening to him. And I have never seen a very insensitive government such as this.
How insensitive? What do you mean by that?
I would explain. I want to find out from our friends in the MPP, what happens with the job freeze? They lambasted NDC for going to the IMF, and for which reason there were some conditions that we could not engage people in the public sector. The NDC engaged a lot of people in the public sector. And contrary to the lies that Ghanaians were told by the MPP and its incompetent communicators, that we never recruited people to the health and education sector, when the website under the same government, you still go and it's still there, indicated that between in 2014 to 2016, we engaged over 42,000 health workers. And it's still on their website. Yes, still, they went to town with this. So, welcome to the club. There's a proverb in Dagbani, that if a stranger comes to your village, ate your food, and decided to break your bowls, he can only do so after he's been encouraged by a native to do that. We are all in this business, and they knew that having gone to the IMF, you are bound to come with some conditionalities because the IMF is not a Father Christmas. Now, when we did that, they went to town and said that we're being insensitive. That how on earth could we accept such conditionalities to freeze, recruitment into public and the public service and the civil service? That why did we do that? Today he's telling us that we all know that when you go to IMF, it will come with some...
That is true.
So that is why I said they didn't need to break the bowl. But they did so because they felt expedient to do that politically. Today, he's telling us that, we all know. Who knows? You only know, we didn't know. Again, you have a government that says that they are going that they've reduced the 1.5%,
E-levy. To 1.
When we had the post-budget workshop, every single, aspect, professors who were brought to take us through, they all had problems with the E-levy, including Professor Ali Nachan. Issa had problems with E-levy. Imani had problems with E-levy. As a matter of fact, CDD, as a matter of fact, the entirety or majority of the people of this country had problems with it. And I'll give you an example. Central University. The university that made their auditorium available to Dr. Baumia to engage in the voodoo economics he engaged in. The voodoo economics which he hoodwinked Ghanaians into believing that he had what it takes at that time to govern this country. The economic biscuit as described by Samira. Now, that university conducted a survey, and in the survey, over 90% of respondents said they didn't like the E-levy. You come to multimedia, if they have friends in our political discourse, it is the NPP, because you have leading members of employees of that station who are now members of parliament and ministers of state in this government. Multimedia conducted a survey, and over 90% of the people of this country said they were against the E-levy. So it was not an NDC opposition. Every available independent institution, those who conducted survey, not a single survey in which you had even 40% of the people of this country said they were in support of the E-levy.
So everybody said, be good.
Now, so they didn't even need to introduce the E-levy. Now you've taken the 1%, And you've taken the 5%, the 0.5%.
Yes.
It is now 1%.
Yeah.
But you have expanded the tax net. What they simply have done is they have expanded the tax net. The reason why you had a threshold of 1.5% by your own communication, the ministry and the Ministry of Information, and you people, the incompetent communicators of the MPP. You told us on this program and other programs that you are having the threshold because you wanted to protect the poor.
But that's true.
But are they protecting the poor now? You have reduced it to 1%.
Well, they've reduced it by...
And they have taken out the threshold. So what it simply means is that anybody who was insulated from paying that tax because such a person was not doing Momo up to 100 Ghana cedis, such a person is now going to be paying the Momo. You remember what that arrogant Minister for Communication, Eselo Usu, you remember what she said? She said that you cannot earn to do 200 Ghana cedis Momo and claim that you are poor. This was her statement. And I use an analogy that you have people who clean in our offices in Parliament. I engage one of them and I asked the young lady, how much do they pay you? And she said 400 Ghana cedis. Now such a lady has the mother in a village who is sick. She took her 400 Ghana cedis. The mother is sick and they need to buy medicine for the mother. Such a young lady pays the 200 Ghana cedis Momo. By SLS estimate, such a lady could not be poor. You have other communicators who are saying that if you can do Momo over 100 Ghana cedis, then you should be rich. Now, even with that, they are now adding more insult to injury. They are now taking out the threshold. Anybody can
but they are reducing the rate.
I'm saying the reason why you introduced the threshold was to protect the poor. Now you are no longer interested in protecting the poor. You are taking out the threshold. So the poor that I wanted to protect, I'm no longer protecting you. You are for yourself. This is going to exert more pressure on the poor than the rich. And in fact, the reason why the NDC was against the E-levy and the reason why other civil society organizations were against it, they were considering the burden of such tax regime on the poor. They have taken it out. Another very important point, job freeze. Unemployment rate, you took it from 6.8% under President Mahama to 17.4%. Statistical Service, look at, and even those figures, they are even massaged. This Statistical Service, they have been massaging figures.
Please be fair to them.
Please, they have been
Please be fair to them. They have a
when Dr. Baumia said, when Dr. Baumia said,
Professor Inim,
I said, when Dr. Baumia said the Statistical Service was massaging figures, you didn't say, oh. You didn't say, oh. Dr. Baumia is not just any person. The vice president today.
So what, you are equalizing?
No, I am saying that the figure, you contrast the figures with other figures that are provided by other international institutions. You will say, okay, they are international, but they have done work which you have hailed. Those figures, granted that we are even going to go by the 17.4%, you took it from 6.8% to 17.4%. Now you are saying that you are no longer even going to engage people. You are not recruiting into the public service. Then this country, God should save us. You are going to create criminals in this country.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
But
you know, sometimes some of the words that you spew.
You had your interviews on the street.
Yes.
And people are justifying their criminality because they don't have jobs.
But that's on the
Hold on, I'm saying that. Please, stop this. You have your interviews on the street. And criminals are justifying their criminality because they don't have jobs. Haven't you had that on your station?
Yeah,
now,
I just played it.
Good. So when you have such people, and now you are going to say we are not recruiting people again, wouldn't that increase? And the people who think the way they think, even though I don't agree with that thinking, you are going to have more of such people on the street.
Because they'll be unemployed.
They'll be unemployed, and they will still find solace in justifying their unacceptable behaviors and conduct in the fact that they don't have jobs. Because even if the unemployment rate has increased from 6.8%, and you want to say you are saying that you are not going to even recruit people, what is going to happen to the unemployment rate? Now this government said, oh, we want to boost export. As if boosting export is just one day thing.
Well, they've been doing that through 1D, 1F. But it's
somewhat in your constituency. I sat on this program and I told you, this 1D, 1F, by the way they are implementing, is something the NDC should just take off.
Look at the item on the budget.
Show me one single impact 1D, 1F has made. One. When you industrialize, it is expected to grow the economy. Is that not the case? And once the economy grows, jobs are supposed to be created. One, the economy is not growing. Jobs are not being created. Joblessness is increasing. And in fact, one of the cardinal objectives of even the 1D1F was that having created the jobs, that you are going to mobilize and generate enough revenue. You had a program with my senior brother, Titus, on the issue of the inability of this government to generate revenue. Do you know the 1D1F? One of the conditions is that for a company to be brought on the 1D1F, you must show proof of jobs that you are going to create. Yeah. Before Parliament went on break, and I will say this repeatedly, I've had a lot of people calling me, telling me not to say it. I will say it repeatedly.
Which is what?
2 companies were given tax exemptions because they are operating under 1D1F. Over $11 million. Over $11 million. When they brought it to Parliament, they didn't accompany it with the jobs they were creating or they were supposed to create. Some of us had problems with that. And the criminal aspect of it is that the information I got, let me use this word carefully. The information I got was that the goods for which they were demanding the tax exemption were already in Ghana. Now, over $11 million without any proof that these are the jobs we are creating. And you think that we should continue with this 1D1F?
Those are estimations and projections.
Tell me how many jobs...
Are you with the Committee of Trade in Parliament?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So you are very much clothed.
So that's what I'm saying. That tell me how many jobs you have created as a result of 1D1F. Why is it that the joblessness is increasing? Now, one is, we have created this number of jobs, thousands of jobs. Unemployment, Kamal, from 6.8% from the so-called incompetent man. I'm speaking. He's their communicator here. From 6.8%, if you are listening, Kamal, you mataba. From 6.8% to 17.4%. And in fact, look at the 2022 budget. Youth unemployment was 12.6. Today, youth unemployment is hovering around 50+%. We are at a catastrophic stage. And we need prayer. Those pastors who were praying, who went to the forest and they were praying, and those imams, this is the time we should intensify the prayer. This country, we are on a downward spiral. And I have to be very honest with you. The earlier something is done about it, the better.
There's a key issue that was being discussed yesterday on social media as well. And one of the key considerations was whether there was a haircut or not. The Deputy Minister for Finance says there's not going to be. But we know that for all those, because of the marked valuations that are being done to instruments locally for bonds, I mean, if you want to go liquidate before your extended time, you get either your profits or returns as well as the principals being cut off.
Good morning
how do we look at all this?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to Comrade and Kamal. You know, Roland, on this particular issue you have just mentioned, there seems to have been an attack on investors.
Please try and explain that one.
I'll explain it. An attack on investors. As you rightly said, where the bonds are concerned, no interest for the first year, 5% for the second year, 10% for the third year.
In the budget, yeah.
In the budget. And remember, a lot of insurance companies, pension companies have gone into buy
the trust,
bonds.
Yes.
Yes, they've gone into buy bonds. So there's no interest. Now, let me run you through some figures. 2021, 5-year bonds, 42 billion issued. 6-year bonds, 12 billion issued. 7-year bonds, 9 billion issued. 10-year bonds, 25 billion issued. 15 years, 26 billion.
That's it.
This was only 2021. Similar figures, 2020. Nothing. And when you look at other countries, how they've handled it, they have been able to support the vulnerable. What was that? Was there anything like that in the budget?
Well, I think
there was
an item on LEAP and then reducing the threshold for E-levy to 1%.
No, I'm talking about the
45
bonds.
cedis.
Listen to me, the bonds. If you look at how much, and you see,
Bonds
then,
are not held by poor people.
Wait, irrespective.
Yeah,
Pensioners' monies are in there.
I understand.
And then what? You encouraged people to buy the bonds. Look at the amount of bonds we bought in
So you're saying
2021.
these policy options are detrimental?
Detrimental. How are you supporting the vulnerable? How? And if we're talking about, with regards to, we're going through challenges, who caused some?
But we are here. I think that's what the finance minister and his communicators have been telling us.
A lot of things.
So it's been cost. They might have cost it, but
a lot
we're here.
A lot of things the finance minister brought up in the budget should have been handled way back 2017 onwards.
Kamal says better late than never.
But people are dying. People have died because of that. Better late than never. So what? Some people have lost their businesses. Is that better late or never? Is that better late or never? Look, I didn't hear anything about massive expenditure cuts.
Oh, you didn't hear?
No, I didn't hear.
The registration, so they're not going to be used of V8, fuel
Oh,
coupons.
please.
But that's the real. They said you shouldn't do workshops. Some of those things. You do the workshop not outside, do it in the ministry.
Those are mediocre.
I like that.
Those are mediocre. We are talking about moratoriums on big contracts.
Or even the cutting down of ministries.
I said big contracts that government wants to do. There needs to be a cut. Did you hear it in the budget?
Well, not at all.
What? They are talking about 4x4s just because people...
Workshops.
Are you trying to tell me that...
Are
you trying to tell me
you think
that...
those ones are not important?
Are you trying to tell me that they'll be able to enforce it? Are you trying to tell me that? They'll be able to enforce it?
I asked the Deputy Minister of Finance, Abna Sari, and she did say that while we seem to think those are the low-hanging fruits, altogether, in quantum, they contribute to ensuring that there's huge expenditure cuts.
How much?
It wasn't
How
quantified.
much?
It wasn't quantified.
How can you not quantify it? If you say the policy you're bringing in, what you're doing to cut costs are huge, you should tell us a figure. Should you not? And in some of the areas that they talk about, look at Economic Enclave Project. Focus on rice, poultry, tomato, maize, and vegetables through commercial farming. Cultivate up to 110 acres of land, 2,000 acres of land cleared and serviced with irrigation facilities. Shouldn't that have been done earlier?
Better late than never.
Oh, please, stop this better late than never.
Kamal said it.
Stop this better late than never. The poultry industry is gone. Shouldn't they have started before when they were shouting and crying? Shouldn't they? And look at some of the monies they have indicated in terms of youth employment. Where is the money going to come from? Did they tell us? Did they tell us? Where is the money coming from? The nitty-gritties of the budget. Did they tell? It's an abridged version. But those nitty-gritties should have been told us. Yeah. It's an abridged one. But those nitty-gritties should have been told us. Did they tell us? How many people are going to have the chance, if we don't come and sit on platforms like this, to actually go through the full document?
I'll send it
How
to
many
you.
people?
I'll send you the full document.
How many people? No, but how many people are going to be able to do that? And things in the budget are going to take effect. Look, he talks about property rates. And what does he say? Property rates, where is it? Fast track the implementation of the Unified Property Rate Platform Program in 2023. Property rates should have been done 2017.
Well, they said, no, but they said they will do it 2022. It really hasn't taken off.
Why? Isn't it the first point of call when the government came in? Because there are many buildings in this country, plenty. Go to the, what do you call it, enclave, the airport enclave. Huge buildings. Should we not have started then? We pushed it to 2023. Look, my challenge with the budget is that of enforcement. Enforcement. He said what? They should stop driving 4x4s in public. Who is going to stop them when they
He himself came
I
by
said,
4x4.
I said, who is going to stop
Fleet
them?
of 4x4.
The first point
He's
of
driving
call,
his own
wait,
car, so.
the first point of call of that reduction should be the president's entourage. That should be the first point. Once we see that it has been reduced substantially, then we say, oh, maybe the enforcement is taking place. But if we still see the 40 convoy of 4x4s going with the president.
Drink water.
Oh, I won't drink water. Don't tell me to drink water. I can't drink. If I drink water, I'll choke because of what you've done to us.
You have messed us up. You are not even mocking us. We are hungry. Everybody, we are crying for the masses. You are mocking
E-levy
us.
is concerned, where E-levy is concerned, you knew you could do 1%. When we were screaming and shouting that this thing, if
Well,
for
the
nothing
argument
at
was
all,
that it was the NDC that were.
oh please
Well,
stop that.
The CDD, are they also all in this?
Listen. You knew you could do 1%. When we were shouting, why didn't you do the 1% then? Look, let me tell you something. If at the beginning of E-levy, government took the advice of a lot of people, and they even started at 0.5%. Don't you think right now, if they came and told us that, look, because of the situation we are in, we need to increase it to 1%, 1.2%, people will rather take it than doing what you did now? You're doing everything in reverse.
There's a concern, and I asked that question yesterday too. You know, when the 1.5 or the figure ultimately then was brought to 1.5, and they started the rollout, then they now began the stakeholder engagement. So I asked a question, whether even this 1% they've had a stakeholder engagement.
I said they did everything back to front. And yes, they did it back to front. And this 100 CD threshold that he's taking off, they were still charging, what do you call it, on the 100 CDs. Yeah. Did we not say it? Did they do anything about it? And that is why some of us are saying the finance minister should go. Because in terms of revenue, at the present moment, your revenue is not able to handle your expenditure. In terms of revenue, what did he say in the budget? What really did he say in the budget where revenue is concerned? How we are going to amortize and increase revenue in a way that they talked about added value when they came in 2017. Look, everything is like a cocktail of mishmash, you know, in a bowl. And we've left the people hanging. We've left the people hanging. He said what? Inflation by the end of 2023 by 18.3 or something like that. How is he going to achieve it? Did he tell us how he's going to achieve it?
Or were you expecting?
It is not likely. It's now 40.4%. You're trying to tell me that
40.4%, we don't even believe in that figure.
It's even, I think it's even higher.
Yes,
No, that's your perception.
Yeah, well,
you are thinking. This one, we have a recognized agency, the Ghana
Fine. I don't know whether they are massaging figures or not. It's 40.4% now. He's trying to tell us that within the year, we'll be able to bring it down to 18.9%. He's trying to tell us that the depreciation.
So you want to know how?
Wait. Yes, the how is important. He wants to tell us he wants to tell us that the depreciation of the cedi would halt. Is that what he's trying to? He's trying to say that inflation is not going to rise, and if inflation is not going to rise, where is going to be the start point of inflation reducing? And are we still going to depend on loans? Are we still?
Yeah, we have to. We have a deficit of over 61 billion.
Who caused some? Where are the innovative factors in there
to reduce?
To reduce. Where are they?
And generate revenue.
But okay. He didn't mention anything about toll booths.
Yes, but he did mention, and I remember that he said there's going to be a public-private arrangement for the reconstruction of the motorway, for example, in phases. And then the arrangement for tolling also will be talked about.
Public-private. Who are the private?
The family members.
Oh, please.
That's what they want to do.
Who are the privates?
The Furiates.
Look, at the present moment, the motorway is a death trap at night.
I use that every day.
Death trap at night. Yeah. So you want to wait till when? Isn't it something you should attack now? Public, private. Who are the private? Tell us who the private. Look, 1D, 1F. 1D, 1F. Don't shake your head.
Sad.
It's not sad. What is sad about
sad,
it?
honestly.
What is sad about it?
Your delivery.
You're in government.
It's dramatizing.
Yes, I know.
It's dramatizing.
It's sad.
When we go on break, you agree with us right now.
You know?
Oh, no.
You know?
No, please. don't do
1D,
that.
1F.
No, I can't do that. Yeah.
1D, 1F. Have they been able to tell us, with the stimulus packages they gave to these companies, what has come out of it?
Nothing.
Have they been able to tell us? Wouldn't it be a good point?
You guys are hitting government hard.
What are we hitting? Aren't they hitting us hard?
You didn't
Are
hear
they
the
not
finance.
hitting us
You
hard?
didn't hear the finance minister says that we are in this together, and we all need to
No,
make
please.
sure.
Are we in this together?
Please,
when he was
no,
making,
no.
when
We
his
are not in
companies
it together.
were
I
making
beg you.
interest in some of these government projects,
We are not in it together.
But we're making it together. What are we talking about?
Let them carry their own.
What are we
costs.
talking
are not in
about?
it together.
Yes, we are all in the hardship. But you see, what they haven't done, they haven't carried the people along. So right now, the
Well,
people...
they are trying to carry you along, but
in the last minute. Last minute. Now that they've seen, look at the humility of the finance minister in his delivery. And did you notice something in Parliament yesterday? Did you notice, Roland, did you notice something in Parliament yesterday? After the finance minister gave his delivery, did you hear the majority make any noise?
No. Standing ovation. No.
Did you hear any noise from the majority? What does that go to tell you?
Oh, that is approval.
What does that go to tell you? And you see, maybe I'm wrong, but I think I questioned the fact in terms of why the group of 98 agreed to allow the finance minister to read the budget. I questioned it. I questioned some of them. And I think the reason why they allowed, because they said, oh, Council of Elders of the party spoke to us. So I asked them, is Council of Elders and party much more important than country? What are the people saying in the country about the finance minister? But I think this is what they want to do. The NDC censure is going to come to the floor, isn't it? It's going to be a secret ballot, isn't it? Yes?
Yes.
It's going to be a secret ballot, isn't it?
You mean in consideration?
In terms of whether, yes,
report?
in considering the report.
Secret ballot.
And that is where...
But can you trust the MPs if you were on the NDC side?
Can we trust what?
It's a secret ballot. If we vote against the finance minister, who would know who voted
But
against
they've already
the
been
finance
whipped
minister?
into line prior to now.
And you think they will take it?
Why do you have some friends in there who
I
are
said
saying
you think they will
I'm
take it?
asking you, are you having
Let's
some friends?
watch. Let's watch. Let's watch.
Okay.
Let's watch and see.
We decided also to speak to Joe Jackson. And Joe Jackson is a financial person, also with Dalex Finance. He is the chief operating officer and had some interesting takeouts from this budget that was read by the finance minister. We'll take that and then we'll go for a break. When we come back, we'll have some snippet of responses on that, and then we'll look at the Black Stars as well. Well, we just have some 10 minutes to wrap up. We'll look at, but let me give you 2 minutes and then.
Roland, I want to end by
please.
saying the so-called National Cathedral, is it in the MPP manifesto?
It makes sense in the paragraphs, not the heading.
Well, we're told that the president.
The story is okay.
Wait. Is it in the MPP manifesto?
The story is okay, but the headline is
So,
misleading.
am I not right, or are we not right to say that it is the president's
Look at the first and
cathedral?
second
Oh,
paragraph.
it is Nanado's cathedral.
Are we not
First
right?
and second paragraph
had a
is
dream.
right.
Are we
But
not
the headline
right?
is
Please,
good.
I'm talking.
Come
Are
on,
we
listen
not
to him.
right?
We are talking, we're
Are we
listening.
not
Oh,
right?
no, but I'm
Are
supposed to be
we
speaking now.
not
not
right
listen to him.
to say
what?
that it is the president's cathedral?
Yeah, we are right.
Yes.
Yes. Two.
Fair point.
How much have we spent on the cathedral so far?
Should be in excess of 200.
400 million.
400 million.
400 million. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened
That
so far.
foundation.
So far.
Which foundation?
Oh, what foundation? Where's the foundation? Can they account for that 400 million? Has the finance minister accounted for the 400 million? And when we say that he should go, the president says no. He should stay. He should account for all these monies to us. Has he accounted? Has he been able to account
But he
for
was
it?
before the committee. You didn't listen to him.
When he came to the committee, what he said,
Oh,
he didn't have the figures.
He lied under oath.
He said he didn't have the
To be
figures. He'll bring the
prosecuted
figures.
for
And even that, they threatened to subpoena him before he brought the figures.
Roland.
And then he comes and stands and, please.
Roland.
Yes, sir.
Roland.
He's giving us a heart attack.
I have
the
carefully-
president, please, Mr.
Yes,
President.
I give you 3 minutes.
Mr. President, I beg you, please let this man go.
I have carefully
3 minutes, sir.
and respectfully listened to Murtala and listened to Lawyer Janto.
You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I know. Listen to them. And of course, you see, I'm happy that it doesn't just lie with them to say what they feel they want to say. It lies also with the Ghanaian populace who are watching us.
Switch off.
To decipher
Open the phone lines.
from whatever
Open
that
the
is
phone
going
lines
on
and let's listen to
and
them.
tell us what is right.
Open the
Roland,
phone lines. Let's listen to them.
when you sit down and think that you assume the position of you being a regime changer, that's how you speak.
Who are the regime?
Who are the regime changers?
Oh, is that how?
But you
why is it that you always
assume
Why?
the
You
position
feel
of
a
being a regime
regime
changer? That's how you speak.
So leave him.
Look, that's how you speak.
So
But
now
see,
anybody who
Excuse
raises
me,
key
please.
issues, and these are
It's a
very
regime
intellectual
change.
issues, you say it's a regime.
okay.
I am saying, I'm not saying, I'm not
We are going to
attacking his
elections,
integrity
aren't we?
or his
2024.
intellectualism. I'm not saying so. But I'm saying that when you sit down and assume the position of a regime changer, this is how you speak.
I see.
You see, I have taken my time to listen to them. I've not said that the MPP is 100% okay for Ghanaians. I've not said that we are faultless. I've never said so. And I've not said that we have just performed, if you like,
Nobody has
to
attacked
a
the
level
MPP.
where nobody can even critique us. That's not what I'm saying. You can critique. Come with your criticism, let it appear constructive, and let's move on. You see, on Ken's matter, when Murtala touched on it, try to characterize him in so many ways. Interesting. Me, when I listened to Ken, when he appeared before the ad hoc committee on this motion of censure, honestly, I dove my heart for him. I said, look, this was fantastic delivery. This was excellent. More so, when the very people who sat down and then weaved the grounds properly and thought that these grounds were so cogent, so strong to get the finance minister out, he will come and sit here and then we'll poo-poo him and then try make nonsense of whatever he's been doing. Trust me, even those grounds that they have sat down to weave, sat down to arrive at, they
So you're
themselves,
mentioning his delivery in relation to
I'm
the ground.
saying, to the grounds. I'm saying that even before that, the 7 grounds were reduced to 5 grounds. Ken was home when in the evening they sent him a letter that, look, when you come, just mention 5. For the 2, we thought that it wasn't okay. The committee thinks that it's okay. We don't want any answers on that.
It's not. They didn't say that.
There was a letter to that.
They didn't
There was
say
a
that.
please, I beg you, there was a letter to that.
He's a
There was
government
that
communicator,
left.
so we'll take that.
There was a letter given to him.
Ghanaians heard
This
it.
is okay.
I'm saying there was a letter given to him. That's why I would not like sit here and lie. There was a letter
They talked
that
about
tells him that
conflict of
I
interest
am
wasn't
saying.
probably in their domain.
See, but what were you thinking?
don't
when
say that- don't say that
What
it was
were you
all right.
thinking earlier on when you're putting down those grounds?
Come on, finish. Yes.
You are very competent. Nobody is. Look, everybody is incompetent, but you guys.
Yes.
Very competent people.
The shoe is
But
rather
what
than
were you
the other
thinking?
foot. The
I'm
shoe is
saying
rather than the other
nobody
foot.
is
I said the shoe
competent
is
as
rather
you guys.
than the other
Now,
foot.
now,
Let
now,
him make his point.
You guys feel you're so extra competent. So extra. And look at where we are.
Now we talk about criminality. And the
You're
issue.
not going over the 7.
Oh, you say?
You're not going over the 7. Your time is up, sincerely.
Oh, please don't do that.
No, you want to go over the stuff. Okay, give him.
I'm
30
not going
seconds.
about the 7.
30 seconds.
said
of-
criminality.
I'm
Go
done
away.
with that. I'm saying that if somebody is so competent, or some group of people think that they're the most intellectuals in
phone
this
lines.
country,
Let's-
and want at the end of the day to say that they are the best, even the grounds they brought, they themselves did do too. Now, criminality. What did he say? He says that we should be charging Ken and charging the finance minister
Please talk about the budget,
For-
not the what do you call it. It's the budget that we are talking about.
Perjury.
for perjury,
Yeah.
as it were. And to the large extent, he used the word criminals.
Who used the word criminal?
You. I was
That
listening
who-
to you.
that who are criminals?
You said we, or you said the government of the day, or you said that the managers of this economy are nothing but criminals. I listened to you.
Did I use that word?
You said it. You
Come
used
on.
the word. I noted it down. Look at it.
I know.
I noted it
Come
when
on,
you use
come
it.
on, come
And
on.
I see.
I
And
know-
I said
I know
that.
you
I
are-
said that criminality is when you sit down, look at someone and say you are so handsome. Come and carry some money out, and give it to Woyomi to go and enjoy. That's criminality.
Wow.
Criminality is when you engage in smartest deal. Then the next moment you come back to tell us that this money was too much, reduce it a little, let's come back. That's criminality. Criminality is when your government was characterized as a great
happened to
loot and
investigations
share
into the
criminality.
PDS?
That is what is happening. Those are criminalities. So when you sit here and then you want to portray
to people as though you
That is
are
why they were
holier
voted
than
out.
thou.
Is that not
You
the
are the
reason
best.
why?
You are the saint. Oh,
Right.
they want to come back again. The same people want to come back again. Okay, but you see, lastly on taxes is clear, and let's get serious here. I have listened to John Dramani Mahama.
So we're not serious.
Oh, I'm not. I didn't say you are not serious. You are the host now. You are a very serious person. I know you. You are too serious. You are Koje.
Come on, please.
I know you. I know you. You are excellent. You see, I'm saying that when I listened to John Dramani Mahama said that, look, lament that when I was president, about 73% of whatever we get in terms of revenue goes into.
So you are
payment
satisfied
of
with the
what?
tax handles
Payment.
and how we intend
I
raising
am
revenue?
saying on taxes we're not doing well. On taxes as a country, we aren't doing well. And he spoke about the enforcement bill, and I'm happy about it. I'm saying that we are not doing well because we are not conscious about ensuring that the revenue mobilization
Who
is
is
done
supposed
well.
to do that?
All of us.
No.
Citizens pay the
It's the
taxes.
finance
Do we
minister.
pay?
Why are you?
Finance minister goes about collecting taxes.
Roland.
Oh no,
Roland.
Roland, this conversation is not so. This
Conclude.
conversation is not like that.
why are they talking
No,
about-
don't do that.
Why are they talking about
Roland,
breaking the
I'm
eight?
saying that we should try
Why are
as
they
much
talking
as
about breaking the
possible
eight again?
to ensure that those taxes imposed are paid.
Can I?
Yeah.
But we are not paying taxes, and
First
yet we want to have
Roland,
everything
Roland,
on the table.
I know, just like any other human being, Kamal may have a lot of defects. I never knew that audio impairment
What do
is
you
also
mean?
part of it. Because
He's stammering.
No, not stammering.
You can't hear him.
No, he's not hearing properly.
when-
And
when-
I think that he needs to know lots of things. I never
He's rather
said-
you
I
rather
never-
have that
and
impairment if
hold
you
on,
don't know.
people who are watching will know
You rather have that
that I
impairment.
never said criminals. I never said that. There's nothing wrong with anybody
They
describing this
should roll you
government.
back.
Hold on. There's nothing wrong with anybody describing this government as criminals. So, honestly, and I have described them as such before. But on this program, I didn't say criminals. I'm not saying that describing you criminal doesn't suit you. It suits your government perfectly.
But you
I
just said it.
But no, I didn't use that. I didn't use that. So that's why I said he needs to look at his audio. Two, why? All the issues he's now talking about President Muhammad.
You don't listen to yourself when you're
President
speaking.
Muhammad said this.
That's sad about you.
We are talking about a football team. That football team, mind you, in history, Ghana is not the only country that did that. That you had players who said they were not prepared to play if they were not paid, and you airlifted money. We may disagree with the system, but there was nothing criminal about it. What we call TV3 is when you win an election at the back of an allegation, a Mary, and you sat at the Flagstaff House and added over $800 million. You just added it. Added over $800 million. That is not even criminal. It's robbery. That is what we call robbery.
And
Now,
Smarties is
please,
what? Smarties is
please. As a matter of fact,
Yours is robbery at gunpoint.
that Smarties you're talking about, there was a committee,
Oh,
monies were paid.
brother.
As we sit today, we still do not know who bought 5% of the Ken bond. We still do not know, as we sit today. Now he says that when he listened to the minister for finance, it's a case of if Agama Lisa
You never
more
read-
people. We didn't even
you
discuss
never-
that.
you
He
never-
said that when you listen to the minister, he
impressed.
was impressed. Of course, come on. Why wouldn't you be impressed? Now, the fact that he came and responded, and the fact that Parliament has not taken a decision, you think that he's right. And to conclude, he said that even the people who petitioned, the 7 cases, they removed 2. Kamal, be informed and don't mislead the viewing public. There was a group of members of Parliament who petitioned. The Speaker then constituted a committee. That committee looked at the petitions and said, these 2 petitions, we can't entertain them. It is not those who petition. Oh,
So who-
Come on, get this
who are a
logic.
group of people?
Come on, get
What are
this
you talking
logic.
about?
No.
So it
I
is
don't
Was
have
there a
time.
petition or
Come
not?
on,
That's the point. Was
So
there a
the
petition or
petition,
not?
Kamal Din
the
Abdullah
petition,
Oh, no.
representing.
the petitioners.
Oh, no.
So
Was there a
please
petition?
be
No. Was there a
informed.
petition?
Come on, be informed.
Kamal Din
When you say
Abdullah
that,
is
don't
representing
say even those who
government
petition.
communications.
The committee felt that
And then
these
also
are issues that are beyond
Kwame
Parliament.
Jantwa-
They can only be handled by the
is
Supreme
the,
Court. Then you say that
Political Affairs Committee Director for the CPP, or chairman. He's also an energy consultant, a legal practitioner. And then Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is a member of Parliament for Tamale Central. As we go for the break, we'll bring back that inset of ordinary Ghanaians raising concerns about the E-levy. Then we'll go for a break.